Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 2409. Be prepared to be inspired.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. Today I'm in Los Angeles, California, car center of the world, with a very special guest by the name of Karen Brown. Karen, welcome to Cars Yeah. Do you have any gear, and are you ready to release the clutch?
Yeah, Mark, let's get started. Hi, everyone. How's it going?
Going well at Cars Yeah World Headquarters here. Now, before I introduce you, Karen, and we dive into this world you've created for yourself, what's one little thing that maybe people don't know about you?
I actually didn't really grow up with a ton of cars around me, which is kind of funny. I mean, I always had a passion for automotive, but, you know, a lot of people who grew up or in this industry had a lot more stories about their past with vehicles. I actually started out more in my teens and right after college and into the automotive space. So I fell in love with it when I got started in my industry, and I haven't left.
No, you haven't, in a big way. Well, let me introduce you here properly, and we're going to dive into a very fun world you've created for yourself. Karen Brown is the Vice President of Events and Experiential Marketing for the Motor Trend Group, part of Warner Brothers Discovery. She is a powerhouse communicator, as you're going to learn here, as if you don't already know her, collaborator, innovator, and ideator. I love that word. Karen continues to cultivate an expansive variety of events and initiatives while leading the internal team in development and execution of high-level events and sponsorship activation. She has had an extensive career in account management, experiential marketing, sponsorship activation, digital account management, and program creation within organizations including the Garage Team, Mazda, Deutsch, David and Goliath, as well as Disney ABC Television Group prior to joining Motor Trend. We'll be back in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsors. They keep the fuel in the tanks here, so give them a little love if you would, and we'll be right back. Buckle up. Years ago, when it was time to renew my collector car insurance policy, my carrier's rates went up. Way up, but my usage was the same and I never made a claim. I didn't even have a ticket. So what's with that? So I turned to American Collectors Insurance. Has your collector car insurance recently raised your rates for no good reason? Tired of paying an annual membership fee? Then it's time to look around and call American Collectors Insurance. I shopped around, I asked friends for recommendations, and found a winner that I can trust. And boy, I'm glad I did. I saved hundreds of dollars every year and slept better at night knowing my baby was properly insured. American Collectors Insurance have been protecting vehicles since 1976. They provided me with an agreed value insurance policy backed by their history of taking great care of their clients. What could be better than that? So give them a call and ask for a quote today. 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. And protect the ones you love like I did with American Collectors Insurance. Classic car insurance designed by collectors for collectors. Did you know that Cars Yeah is in the top 1% of all podcasts based on listenership according to Libsyn, the premier RSS feed for podcasts in the United States? That's right. Plus, DuPont Registry recommended Cars Yeah is one of their top 10 car podcasts for you to enjoy. Cars Yeah has experienced tremendous growth, plus your ads are evergreen, meaning they never go away. And more listeners find Cars Yeah every day for their daily dose of automotive inspiration. Do you want to expose your brand to a highly targeted list of automotive enthusiasts in a very unique and very personal way? Well, I can help you. Contact me, Mark Green, at mark@carsyeah.com or through the website at carsyeah.com today to learn more. So, Karen, we're back. Motor Trend, where you've landed yourself, but I want to maybe go back a little bit in time of how you got into the automotive sector, because you certainly have played, but you're really all about making connections, is my interpretation of what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was in college and I was working at the senior tennis tour, and at the time, senior tennis tour was like 35 and older. So I feel like I'm in that category now. At the time, it felt old, but now I'm like,
I've blown right past that category. It's in my rearview mirror, way back.
Yeah, it was kind of a funny a time, but I always loved live events, and I knew I wanted to be in that after I had thought about, where I wanted to take my career and my passion and everything around it. I got into automotive working through a colleague of mine at Team One on Lexus, and I was at Team One advertising with Lexus, and I kind of hopped around to multiple different brands, worked on everything from, Lexus to Kia Motors to Mazda, just multiple brands. And I kind of was like in and out just in terms of like the environment. But yeah, I love it. I just love bringing people together, and every person has a story. Every car has a story. And I think it's so unique to be able to, bring those kind of two things together, and then you couple it with the experiences. And now in this crazy world we live in of Instagram and TikTok, it's a fun environment to be in. And, even though I'm into automotive throughout the week, my entire job, I also love going to car events on the weekend. So it's hard for me to leave.
Well, for a car person's perspective, you got the dream job because you're not stuck behind a desk. You get to go and do things. You get to meet amazing people. You get to be a part of this. And I've seen this trend over the last probably about 10 years, especially at big events like Car Week, Pebble Beach, and other events, Amelia and so forth, where manufacturers and publishers and people in the world are starting to do or have been doing more and more of this. And Motor Trend, has such a history. Originally, you think of Motor Trend as a magazine and so forth, but you're so much bigger than that.
Oh, 100%. And, a lot of people still consider us a magazine company. Motor Trend's going on its 75th anniversary, which we're celebrating next year. And no, I was not born around then. But still 35 and older in that senior tennis tour. But, and Hot Rod's been around for 75. We just celebrated that this past year. And,
yeah.
We used to have upwards of 50 or 60 brands in the publishing side. And while that's still around and that's still prevalent, Motor Trend, with our partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery, it's a big media house. So
Right.
We have everything from content to editorial, journalism, social and events and PR and programming and entertainment. And it's a really fun place to be because we offer infotainment or educational tools and things like that for consumers. So if you want to know anything about automotive, whether you're restoring something, you're buying something, you're shopping, you can come to Motor Trend. And that's kind of like what we're offering our fans and our consumers. And then my job is to be able to kind of recreate that and bring that to life at live events. And I just love it. I don't really consider it a job.
Well, I can imagine your head must spin around a lot because it's so huge and grand, and wrapping your head around all these events. And it used to be there was just a few, let's say Concours events, Concours events,
Right.
or vintage racing events. Now, I think you could go somewhere every weekend, year round, around the world. I do a lot of shows with people from other countries, and there's just event after event, and I thought I knew them all, and they just keep growing. So as part of your job, do you sit there and go, okay, what am I going to, because here we are towards the end of the year. Can't believe that's happened so fast. Do you just sit with your team and go, okay, what are we going to do next year? Do you guys create your own events within events, or do you create your own events, or is it a combination of all that?
Yeah, it's a good question, right? It's a combination of both. And, I think the great thing about COVID, despite the situation, was I think it really allowed people to truly, really appreciate being together. And I think that we learned a lot from that. People want to get under the car. They want to get inside it. They want to drive it. They want to smell the gas. Maybe you're in the EV interest, but we'll talk about that later. But I think the interest of kind of really creating experiences. So we have our own events that we produce, like Hot Rod Power Tour and Hot Rod Drag Week, and those have been around 15, 20 years. Actually, Hot Rod Power Tour next year will be its 30th
Oh my gosh.
anniversary.
How can that be?
I know. And
That's scary.
I don't know. It's very scary. And then actually this December, we just announced a couple weeks ago that we're going to be at Hot Rod Power Tour West. So we're doing our first annual Power Tour West in Southern California because the fans asked for it. And so for me, my biggest thing is like, what are the fans saying? What do the fans want? Cars and Coffees have popped up so tremendously, and it's spiked in the last couple of years. And it's bringing out youthizing, like the aspect of bringing younger folks also to this space, right? You see a big paradigm shift in brands trying to figure out, how do I connect with the young folks that maybe they're not buying as many cars, but they still have a passion for that. So that's kind of our job, is to create experiences for everybody, the young, people that want to get in automotive. Maybe they're not certain about it. Maybe their parents were in it, but they're not into it. But there's something about automotive that really brings people together. So we produce our own and operated events, but then we also get to work with a lot of brands, especially on the OEM side, and build really cool activations where we get to white label ourselves as their partner and design events, whether it's tied around F1 or tied around the concours across the U.S. or, even custom programs and reveals. So it's really fun. It's really fun.
I would think in a way the world is your oyster because there are so many opportunities here. We just got off of Rennsport at Laguna Seca, and I'm sure Porsche continues to be blown away by that event. I mean, they sold out. They couldn't even sell any more tickets. There was too many people there. And, when a manufacturer like that goes, oh my goodness, it's so much more than even the event. People will be talking about this forever. So that's the funness of your world. Is that or I guess maybe I should rephrase this. What is your favorite part about what you do for your career?
How much time do we have, Mark?
Well, it's all up to you. So
I love how cars bring people together. And I think that there's something there, like I said, everyone wants their story to be told. And that's what I love doing. I love taking something on a PowerPoint presentation or a whiteboard at the office and being like, okay, if we were to create the ultimate, Japanese car show, or we were to create the ultimate American post-war car, what would that be for fans? Why would they want to come out? What does that make sense to the people that are technically interested, but then bringing new people into it and seeing something like everyone can bring out any creative idea into an event and then seeing that come to life in a physical form. It's so powerful. So the months and the time and the conference calls and the emails and the text messages that goes on to planning something like that, I think that's powerful. And a lot of those stories aren't told as to how even something like Rennsport, came to life. I'm sure it was, but it's not an easy task. And I think that people that do come to these events, they really do appreciate the power that it has for a brand like that to build something so massive, and for the fans ultimately, and keeping the momentum of the car community alive is extremely powerful.
Oh yeah, it blows me away. And I think these events, and you know it because you're knee deep, neck deep in it, doing even more than just around cars. And the Doobie Brothers at Rennsport. I mean, the Doobie Brothers, now that ages me, but okay, I'm back in junior high school, I mean, it's pretty darn cool. So combining all this, and I think you're right, it brings in a different group of people and that opens up the world. But I agree with you. It's all about the people. Cars, I always say, are the catalyst to bringing all of us back together. And cars seem to be one of those unique things that overrides all socioeconomic and every other political background. People don't care. If you like cars, I like cars. We have something in common. Let's share that passion. And that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah. And I think you meet a lot of, good friends and contacts in the industry. Some of these people could become
lifelong friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Lifelong friends. And there's nothing. And then to your point earlier, you might go to an event and, not see a person for a long time. And then a couple months later, you see them. Oh, I didn't know you had that vehicle, or I didn't know you were interested in restoring that. And that just sparks conversation. And that's really powerful. And that's really fun. And weaving in the lifestyle and everything from culinary to music to entertainment. It's such a powerful space to be in.
Oh, it really is. You mentioned some of those going to the Quail every year, all the different peripheral companies, cigar companies, vodka companies, jewelry, yachts, airplanes that come in and are part of it. It really is growing and growing. And talking about people, I'm wondering if there's somebody in your past that has been what I like to call a driving inspiration, a mentor, an influential person that is, you look back and go, man, I'm so glad they've been in my life.
I get this question asked a lot, and I always go back to my dad. My dad is someone who we independently and dependently operate in a very similar way. He inspired me as a young kid. I always wanted to work. I always looked up to him in terms of how much he put into his work, but also his personal life. I still got to work on my personal life aspect of things, but maybe I'm too much into cars. I don't know. But, he empowered me a lot as a young kid to do what I wanted to do. And I cannot thank him enough for that. He always supports my career and everything that I do and knows how much passion I put into it. And he also, though, gets on me about certain things and which makes me become a better person. We're all here for one reason and multiple reasons with that at times. And I think it's powerful to have someone around that has supported me both on and off my career over the years. And I honestly can't thank him enough for everything he's done.
You're very fortunate. It's wonderful. If you were going to give a young person advice who would love, they're listening to this story and they're going, I want to be just like Karen. What type of advice would you give them to get involved into the automotive sector?
I would say, it doesn't have to be anything big at the beginning. I think a lot of people see something on Instagram or social or digital and they're like, I have to have that job. It's like the best thing about one's career that I've always learned is starting somewhere and not knowing where you're going to go and allow your journey to be told. And I think that a lot of people that want to get in this industry, they maybe want to be on TV, or nowadays they want to be an influencer or a content creator. And I always ask yourself, why do you want to do that? What is your passion? What's your interest? And, you could start out, interning. You could start out in a shop somewhere, learning. I think that's a big thing as well, that it's always important to be around people that you can learn from and get inspiration from. But I'm also a big proponent of failing. And the reason why I say that is because I think that you ultimately grow better when you do fail, but you have to learn why you failed. And you have to ask yourself those questions on a regular basis, which can be very challenging for the youth because they always want something right now. But I think it's okay to fail, but then realize I'm failing because of X, Y, and Z, and now I've got to learn from that. I'm going to become a better person, and I can pass it forward. So that always gives me hope and inspiration.
Yeah, great advice. Having done so many shows as I have people that come back that were on the show early years ago, and I just had a guest 2 weeks ago, RJ DeVera, who started.
Oh, he's a good buddy of mine.
Yeah,
he's a very good friend of mine.
You look at him, and I had him on when he was just kind of out taking pictures of cool cars and trying to be an influencer or just posting pictures and things. And now he's the vice president of marketing for SEMA. So,
I know.
you just never know. You've got to stick with it, but it doesn't happen as quickly as some of these TikToks and Instagram pages make you want to think. You've got to stick with it. But I think as we both learned, meeting people, talking to people, asking questions, and you mentioned an important word. I share this all the time, the word why. You've got to determine why you're doing this. I always direct people to Simon Sinek and read his book or look at his TED Talk or look at his page and figure out why you really want to do this, because that will help drive you. I would assume that's what it did for you, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think sometimes I've gotten into spaces that I'm, obviously not too proud of, and I take a step back and 5-10 years down the road, I go, you know what? That was probably not the best move, but I learned from it, and I now know why I did what I did, but it also comes down to relationships. And I think that, at times we get into situations or moments or challenges of our career where we often don't know really what we're doing and we're just kind of going, and maybe on the road, maybe driving behind the wheel. I don't know. But just in general, I think it comes down to your relationships that you build within it, because this industry, as you know, is extremely small. You just mentioned RJ DeVera, and, we didn't know each other years ago, and now we're, very close colleagues and friends. And I'm so honored and blessed for what he's been able to do with his career and how he's been able to mentor kids and, really get into a new space and get out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
Which is what I also like when you mention the word why, getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, I think is also extremely important in this space too.
So let's get comfortable with the uncomfortable with this next question. And this is what I call the challenge question. Nice segue you did there. Beautiful. So the challenge question, and that is share a really challenging situation, even a failure that you met up with. But more importantly, when you look back, as you just mentioned, you can say, I'm kind of glad that happened to me because it taught me a really valuable lesson. Is there one of those in your life?
Again, Mark, we don't have much time.
How much time do we have? Yeah, well, just pick one. I've got a lot too.
I'll try to pick one. I think a very challenging situation was, and I'm not going to name the organization, but I was working somewhere where I was challenged with someone who came across my path that was super competitive, didn't really see the positive side and the team that she had, felt that there was a lot of competition. And some of us were, obviously, it was automotive related, but some of us felt like, what are we doing wrong? Are we doing something wrong? Is she doing something wrong? And some of us kind of took a step back and realized, maybe she's the one that's actually not having a good time at the moment. So we all kind of worked through it together collectively, and it made me realize that yes, we're all humans in this automotive industry, but we also need to respect our peers, and I think we need to come out of this stronger and help each other out more than bring each other down. That was kind of an interesting way with learning more about yourself, and taking a step back and not reacting so quickly to things to overcome what you can do in the next and help other people out.
Nicely said. It is. It's about helping other people out. And when we encounter people that are challenging, sometimes just a question of what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Because we never know what's going on with people at home or whatever it might be. They might be battling a big demon in some way in their life. I want to talk about special vehicle in your life. And I know that you drive a Toyota 4Runner, a Trail Edition, I understand. But you're a lady after my own heart because you have aspirations for a very wicked Porsche 911 GT3 RS. I've been a Porsche guy forever. Yeah. So tell me, maybe you can talk about one or the other here because of time constraints, but okay, let's just talk about the Porsche. Why on earth would you want a GT3 RS, as if I need to ask?
Why not?
Why not?
Why
okay.
not?
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it's such a...
I'm just trying to imagine being in LA traffic in one of those things. You need to be at the track.
You need to be at the track, but you could also be on the streets of, the beach routes and going up Malibu on the canyon side, or maybe down to La Jolla at 7:00 on a Sunday morning when there's no one there on the 5 freeway. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the brand itself is something I'm so passionate about because you know what you're getting when you're getting into a Porsche. You know it's going to be designed and engineered right. You know that it's going to, function for you. You're going to get the feel that you want on and off the track. And I think it's something that gives you like that power and that energy without being like, I would say in a very sophisticated way, without feeling like extremely snotty or rude on the road or on the track. That's that's why I want one. Maybe not in the next, near future, but in the time being.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I've had lots of 911s and most of them were daily drivers, a few were toys, but they're just one of those cars to me that has been, it's still kind of the same for so long. And we just saw Porsche celebrating 65 years, and 70 years for the brand. 75. Was it 70 or 75? It's a long
75.
75. Holy cow. Yeah. I'm thinking of a t-shirt I have that has 70. So that was 5 years ago. But yeah, it's just one of those brands. And I think you're right. It's a little less, now some might disagree, but a little less snobby than say, supercars, hypercars, some of these cars that are just so far out there that they're what my friend Bruce Canepa calls 1 hour cars. You drive them for an hour and then park them and then you go back to your Porsche when you really want to get out and enjoy. But
it's attainable, right? It's a vehicle that you can it's attainable and it's easy in the realm of like having it for your daily on your daily, or maybe it's something that you do drive on the track or on the weekend. But to your point, it's not a hypercar or supercar where you feel like you only want to drive it to a Cars and Coffee or a private event or something like that. So 100% agree with you.
Well, when you get that car, send me a picture, or better yet, give me a ride. Okay. That's what.
Actually, I'll call you. Mark, are you in Southern California?
How fast can I be there? Yeah, I'm on my way for sure. Go down to the Porsche Experience Center and have a little bit of fun. So I'm a bit of a car psychologist. I'm going to dare to crawl into your head because you are You are a dynamic, fast-moving person. If you were reincarnated, pun intended, manifest as a vehicle, what would Karen Brown be, but more importantly, why?
I don't actually know. I'm going to flip it around and actually ask you this question. What car do you think I would be and why?
Oh, my gosh. Okay, now you're really making it tough. Well, you know what I'm going to... Well, I'll define this here. You've got to be fast moving. You're not an idle vehicle. You've got to be something that does a whole bunch of complex things all at the same time, because working on events, there's a whole bunch of pieces of this puzzle that have to come together. So very technical, very, I'll say modern to the day is what you've got to be. Okay. Fast, technical, beautiful. Course.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to go back to what we just talked about. I think you're a Porsche because they do all of those things, but they also do it with a little class and some style. To do what you do, you've got to have that because you've got to I vision you juggling so many things and so many personalities and trying to please so many people, not only the clients you deal with, but the people attending, the guests coming in. And I see Porsche is kind of doing all that. You said it yourself. You can take a Porsche to the track and then you can drive it home. You can sit in traffic, not worry about it. I've done that many times in many of my cars. So did I chintz out on the answer, or do you think I'm pretty close?
I think you're pretty spot on. I actually, I think you nailed it to a T, which is crazy.
Okay, I love it. Very good.
No, that's probably what I would have picked in some sort of way. But yeah, I think it's yeah, you nailed it. I'm not even going to respond. I can't even compete with what you said.
Well, good. Well, I'm a good listener then. So there you go.
You are.
I also like to ask people because car people are givers, how they like to give back. And I look at your entire career path and what you do there at Motor Trend is you're giving back to not only your clients and your customers, your readers, your viewers, but also to the experiential environment that you create for people to come and have fun. Is that how you, in a way, perceive your career path here?
Yeah, I always, at the end of the day, I always take a step back and go, okay, what did I do today right? What did I do today wrong? Am I making everybody else satisfied and happy, right? And is that my ultimate goal? And at times I go, yeah, I did, or I didn't, or maybe I didn't go down the path the right way today. I gotta work on that. It goes back to what my dad always taught me, and what I feel he's done a really great job at is, like, you can't always please everybody. People are going to be pleased the way they want it, the way they're going to interpret something. But if I'm doing my job right and I'm giving people a platform, a voice to be heard, a space to feel comfortable in, then I'm doing my job, whether it's my team members, my coworkers, my peers, clients, sponsors, vendors, suppliers, fans, enthusiasts, whatever it might be. Obviously, we all are humans and we have a ton of learning to do every single day. But I think I always go through my brain, like, what did I do right today? What did I do wrong today? And if I did something wrong, I've got to be okay to admit it. I've got to be okay with being able to be challenged by that a little bit, and to be able to, like, showcase what I'm strong at, and then learn from my weaknesses, and then be able to help others, or other people can help me. I think often, if you're mentoring someone or you're helping someone, you might be getting something also back in return. And I think we have to accept that as we grow in our careers. We didn't get in our careers for who we are now. We had a journey. So I think that's extremely important for people that are coming up in this industry and everyone that we touch on a daily basis.
Well, for sure. And you touched on something very important that I've learned. People have asked me, man, of all, you've talked to so many people, what has this experience for the last 9.5 years taught you? And you touched on this. It's taught me that we are happiest as humans when we give back and help other people. And sometimes it takes people a long time to figure that out. But I always say to people, if you're unhappy with your life, go out and help somebody else. Don't think about how to help yourself. Think how to help somebody else. And through that, you will find joy. And it works all the time.
It does. And even if you don't know it right then and there, you might know it a month or 2 or 3 years later.
Yeah.
I think we live in this, and you can keep me honest here, but I feel like we live in this digital, fast-paced environment and world now that everybody wants an answer, like, right away. And I think we often have to start accepting it a little bit, that, like, things come when they're supposed to come and there's a reason behind them. And if there's bumps and challenges along the way, it's okay. You're able to learn from that, but you've got to take that step back before you can take those multiple steps forward, for sure.
That old story, enjoy the journey. The destination is not always what it's booked out to be. So how about books? I love to share great books. Is there one in particular you could share with us?
There is a book by the name of, it's written by the name of Mark Jobe. It's called Unstuck. And I actually pulled it out of my bookshelf here. It's called Out of Your Cave Into Your Call. Okay. And there's things, it's like kind of a wake up call for people that are feeling stuck. And it kind of goes back into the mindset. It helps you discover what's holding you back from moving things forward. And it goes back to that thing we talked about earlier, is the why question. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? How can you rediscover yourself? How can you set your boundaries? And really, like, peeling back the onion a little bit. And that's kind of how I go through my life on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But also, in my job. I sometimes get stuck where I'm like, gosh, I'm really having a difficult time like coming up with this event concept, or how can I navigate this contract with this vendor or partner or whatever it is the right way. So it doesn't just benefit my company or my team, it also benefits them, and then it benefits the fans. So I often read it there's multiple chapters in there, defining moments and putting forth boundaries and what's on your storyboard, what's on your vision board, things that you can actually like take a step back to get more in that creative mindset, even if it's like walking away from something for 5 minutes or a day or two, and then get back in it. It's a very powerful book, and it's Christian related, but it's also very like life just in general related about what our journey is like you mentioned earlier. So that's what I love about it.
Nice. I don't think that book's been recommended, which is saying a lot, because I've got a place on my website called Guest Recommended Books where there's over 3,000 books listed there. I make it really easy for viewers to find them, but I love sharing books with other people. I interview a lot of people who write books, but that one I don't think, and it's not on my shelf. I'll have to get my hands on it. So thanks for sharing something new. So let's go in the ultimate drive. I'm a bit of an enabler. Okay. I'm going to buy you any car in the world. You can take it anywhere. And here's the key. You can take anybody with you would like, including somebody from the past who's no longer with us, which opens up a world of unique companions, co-pilots. So what does the ultimate drive look like for you? And again, I'm footing the bill, so don't worry about the spend.
Well, first of all, it would be multiple drives, because we can't just go on one.
Okay.
You can't really get, let's make this an experience, Mark. Let's go on multiple drives.
All right.
I'd get in some kind of Porsche, and we would probably go in multiple different locations, do some pit stops, think of it like a luxury rally. Mm-hmm. I'm an athlete, grew up playing sports. I would love some time with Kobe Bryant. Not only because we have the same initials.
That's right. KB's.
Yeah, exactly. But his Mamba mentality of his work ethic and his passion towards what he did on and off the court and what he was doing later on in his life has actually like inspired me in many different ways. And I would love to just rack his brain about, his passion for doing what he loved doing on the court, but then what he was trying to do off the court and from a family side of things later on in life. To me, so much more. He had so much more potential. He was going in so many different places, but that whole Mamba mentality of, questioning yourself and asking questions and watching your tapes and studying things really, and, it's so inspirational.
Very nice. I think that's the first person to mention bringing Kobe along. So that would be spectacular. And you have been spectacular today. I knew that you would Mark. Be. Well, I want to thank you for spending some time with us today. Before I let you go, could you offer us maybe some words of inspiration or wisdom, a mantra or a success quote of some kind?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here.
You're welcome.
It's an honor, not only an honor to be on it, but an honor to receive an email from you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to hold you to that drive.
Okay. All right.
I would just love for the fans and the listeners to know that no matter what you're going through, whether it's, good, bad, or the ugly, whatever you're dealing with, there are ways to come out of your shell and break through whatever you're dealing with, whether it's business, personal, life in general. And also when it comes to automotive business, think about your journey and what you want, and be able to put forth your passion into everything that you do, from your personal life to your career. And, this automotive industry is a tough one to be in at times, but it's also really enjoyable. And if you're thinking about getting into it and you're kind of struggling about where you want to go, there's nothing wrong with tapping your feet into anything new and challenging yourself to get into it and see where your journey goes, and be okay, like I said, with failing or messing up, or it's just part of the learning process, and accept it and be part of it and embrace it.
Well said. I love it. How can people learn more about you and Motor Trend?
Me, I'm on Instagram. My IG handle is KB499Red. I'm also on Facebook as well. There's a story behind the 499, but anyways, Motor Trend, you can find us on social, motortrend.com. All of our social channels are up. again, I really appreciate time here with you today, and who knows where this journey could take us on the next chapter.
Well,
so thanks again.
You never know. You're very welcome. I can't thank you enough for your time. I want to do a shout out to your colleague there, Sandy Olson, who helped get us together. Sandy, thank you very much for making this happen. Yay for Sandy. Well, Karen, hey, this has been a delight. I knew it would be. I'm so glad we connected. I want to thank you for your time, your expertise, sharing your power, and you are power. Until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you probably in a Porsche down the road.
Cheers. Thank you.
You're welcome. For several years now, you've heard me talk about Linkage Magazine. I've been a subscriber since the start. Their talented and creative team brings you a spectacular publication and website that shares the automotive passion from a worldwide perspective. Linkage is about driving, restoring, collecting, and first-hand experience at collector car auctions and more. They bring you real-world values plus rational, experienced opinions on the current markets. They cover the automotive world and the people who share our passions. And Linkage Magazine has grown, mailing you 6 issues annually. Join me on this journey with Linkage. They're geared for the automotive life. You can subscribe at linkagemag.com. Did you know that less than 3% of all automotive technicians in the United States are women? You may not be surprised, but you should be concerned because our country is facing a massive technician shortage right now. Skilled, qualified techs are in high demand, and we need young women and men to consider these careers as a viable path to a fulfilling life. I've interviewed hundreds of women in the automotive sector here on Cars Yeah, and I know that women make great techs. That's why I support the nonprofit TechForce Foundation and its Women Techs Rock initiative to ensure women see themselves in the profession, the industry, and the workforce. Learn more at techforce.org today.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.